Good morning. All right, I think I see myself talking. There we go. All right. Okay, so good morning, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here in my office with me at home this morning. I love being able to be at home sometimes because I'm usually downtown working. So it's kind of nice. We were also out of town last weekend, so this is a nice change of pace. But I am excited to share with you a couple of things. So this webinar is for different people, not only for the folks that are interested in the aesthetics licensure course at Southeastern Aesthetics Institute. I'm going to go into that quite a bit, but then I'm also going to speak to pretty much anyone that is just excited to begin a new journey, start a business. That's one thing that I love that we offer at Southeastern Aesthetics Institute, because I love business. I love helping people start businesses. I have a couple of different ones of my own. My husband and I have Sykes Enterprises. We have Southeastern Aesthetics Institute. I have gone into business with my mother in the past for Southeastern Laser Med Spa in Sumter, South Carolina. We managed a very big laser medical spa at that time. So lots of really cool stuff for sure. Let me make sure I mute everybody. There we go. There we go. And maybe that's my phone going off. There we go. Okay. So I have a lot to bring to the table for you with that. So I have got all the steps coming up, exactly how to do it, and just ways to make your life easier when it comes to owning and operating a business, because everybody can, should, and should always just go for it when it comes to that. You will respect yourself a lot more. You will be able to do things you never thought you could do. And you cannot go through this life without doing something for yourself, even if it takes a lot of hard work. So we're going to get into that. So I wanted to compile a couple of pictures here. This literally is just in the past couple of weeks at Southeastern Aesthetics Institute. We just moved over to 1644 Main Street in Columbia, South Carolina, in the historic Taps building, which I have loved forever. If you know my story with that building, I have lived in the condos before getting married to my wonderful husband, Brandon, and moving here to Lexington. But it is also a very historical department store from way back when in Columbia, South Carolina. And my grandmother used to actually eat in that fountain room. If you look at that picture to the bottom left, those are some of our gorgeous gals there. That is the fountain room, which we now have coined it to be the Fountain of Youth room, which is our coffee bar and eatery. And we have Starbucks coming soon in there and all sorts of fun stuff. So we're still outfitting that space. And, you know, as you know, everything is brand new there. So we're very excited about it. But we love Southeastern. There's something special about the culture of the aesthetics program. And we also, of course, have the advanced aesthetics program. But there's something special about what we do. And it's not just you coming to class and learning the basics, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute, but it's also about how you feel, what you learn, what you impart upon others, the friendships, the relationships you make. We do headshots, we do resume building, we do all these other certification classes, which I'm fixing to go into. It cannot just be a course, right? You have to feel like you love being there and wanting to be a part of the entire thing. So when you're looking for aesthetics programs, you want to be able to feel it. You know, I just feel like that's a big thing. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the mission, because I do go over this in orientation, and I am going to kind of do this in compartmentalized style. So we'll talk about the aesthetics licensure course for those that have not been, that are kind of thinking about what they want to do. Then I'm going to get into business ownership, and then I'm actually going to round this out with my orientation presentation for those of you that are interested. And that way you can see a little bit of everything from how you get your license, your theory, and your practical exam. And some of those things I actually go over on the first day of class. But our mission is simple: to produce top quality licensed estheticians with exceptional knowledge of the skin from a scientific and clinical level. So that's a big thing for me. If you have been in my class, and I teach all the new ones coming in, so I do orientation, I do all the core stuff, and then I send you over to our other teachers. And of course, I teach days. I usually get in every single day at 7 a.m. But I love science. I love science of the skin. So if you ever thought that you didn't do well in high school with sciences, biology, chemistry, all that kind of stuff, anatomy, all of a sudden it's going to make sense to you now. right? When it comes to skin and beauty, all of a sudden, all this just stuff makes sense. You are smarter than you probably ever thought you were. And we bring out that within you. And it's just so empowering. Then a clinical level too. So you're going to see all these neat pieces of equipment that we do and that we offer. Most aesthetics programs may or may not have equipment like that due to the nature that you don't have to teach this kind of stuff. I mean, you want to learn the basics, but to be employable, you need to be able to work with that nice equipment that the top tier spas, med spas, and plastic surgery offices actually have. So I'm going to go through that with you guys as well. But then the last part says, in order to obtain gainful employment and make a difference in the lives of your clients. So two things there. Number one being gainful employment. We love helping you not only start businesses, which is what we're going to talk about in just a minute, but also how to be employed by others. Okay. One thing that I love is really kind of going into W-2 employment, or whether you're a contractor, whether you decide to be a small business owner in some sort of fashion, even if it's just renting a room somewhere, we help you with all that kind of stuff. So we have an alumni coordinator that my husband and I just hired last year, and she's phenomenal. She is going to help you all the way through from start to finish and beyond. So between me and her, we work very cohesively together to make sure that you register for boards, that you're successful, that you pass, and that we make those connections for you with those employers in order to line up employment immediately. So there's many different ways in which we do that, and we like to do that one-on-one with you all and just make sure you feel like you're being heard, that you're being lined up for your unique path, because everybody has a different journey. And then I'm actually going to show you my office hours too. I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. And in that way, you know exactly how to get in contact with me, and we can have that one-on-one time together, which I think is very important. And I'm sure you do too. And then the last thing where it says, make a difference in the lives of your clients. That is the number one reason why people come to aesthetic school. And I just feel like the whole point in life is to elevate other people and to help them get to where they need to be. So whether it's teaching students, you might want to be in the education field in aesthetics, or if it's seeing clients and you want to make sure that you're making a difference for those people, because that's really what it's all about. When you see those good before and after pictures, you're thinking, oh my goodness, you know, this is a good thing. This is what I'm here for. This is why I was called to be an esthetician. All of that is about making that difference. Okay, so I wanted to go into, and I'm going to look at the Q&As and stuff towards the end, if that's okay with everybody. But this is what I want you to know. So if you're in South Carolina and you're thinking aesthetics is your track, okay, you need to understand the difference between a regular aesthetics program versus something else, okay? So we are a nationally accredited school through the Council on Occupational Education. So you see here in South Carolina, only 450 clock hours is required. However, if you go to a non-accredited school, just to be clear, if y'all are taking notes, please write this down. Non-accredited schools are only going to offer 450 clock hours, which does not give you the eligibility to be able to, number one, use Pell Grants, and number two, to be able to transfer your license easily to most states. So I can go into that more if you've got more questions on that. But if you're wondering why the actual program is approved at 450 clock hours, and I've been on the task force for the Board of Cosmetology, so I know all this stuff, and I live and breathe all the rules and regulations, but 450 clock hours is the minimum. But if it's a non-accredited school, they're not going to do the 450 clock hours, or they are going to do the 450 clock hours, and that's not going to give you access to Pell Grants, which is free funding towards your tuition amount. And then also you cannot transfer easily to other states. So for example, we have a lot of folks that will transfer over to Georgia, and we have a lot of Georgia people that actually come to Southeastern Aesthetics Institute because they want to take our 600 clock hour program and then transfer easily to Georgia. Georgia requires 1,000 hours. Does that make sense? So if you take your licensure course in South Carolina, then you get your license in South Carolina at 600 clock hours. You can easily transfer to Georgia, easily transfer to North Carolina, or whatever state is good to go, and you don't have to take their boards again. There are some exceptions to that rule. I want to say Texas is one of those. and maybe one or two other states, but we will help you through that process as well. Every state's a little bit different, but look at the actual items listed here. All the regular aesthetics program involves is just the basics. So just basic facials, hair removal, makeup, body treatments. That's it. And then of course, professional practices has to do with sanitation, which is everything pertaining to licensure, which is why we have a license at all. Sanitation is everything. And then sciences as well. So those are the basic things. Then everything that we provide at Southeastern Aesthetics Institute simply comes from the fact that I love aesthetics and I teach in the classroom every day. So I might be the school owner, but I have a whole team of people. My husband's the CEO. I've got a whole team of admissions and financial aid directors and alumni coordinators and all that kind of stuff to take care of you guys on the back end. So I can be here with you in the classroom. So I think that's what makes us the best, because we definitely are the ones in the treatment rooms with you in the classrooms, and we want what you want, which is to have it all, right? Who doesn't want to have it all? But this is what you're going to get at Southeastern Aesthetics Institute. So everything I just mentioned, plus eyelash extensions. I just taught that yesterday. Super fun. Love that class. We do hydrodermabrasion. We have the hydrofacial brand machines, and we also have the Venus Concept glow machines. We have tons of them. And these are actual pictures from the past couple of weeks in our new school space. And there's Instructor Shannon at the top with a couple of our folks. And then down at the bottom left here, that's Shakidra. She just graduated last week. But we are so proud of these students and everything they're doing. That background picture there is microchanneling. Microchanneling is so huge. Those superficial depths of needles are totally approved for estheticians to be able to perform, to produce collagen, elastin, and glycosaminoglycans. You'll learn what that means with me in my class, but all that fun stuff. Then radiofrequency skin tightening is huge. I lectured on this week. You'll do tons of hands-on with it. We just recently purchased a lot more equipment to be able to facilitate the fact that you guys love it so much. We had bought, gosh, I guess 2 machines sometime last year, but now we have like 15 machines, and you get that amazing, amazing education with that. So body contouring is what radiofrequency skin tightening does. So if you have issues with your abdomen, or you want better cellulite or reduction of cellulite or whatever it is, that works for that. And I'll give you a little tip from my classroom. I was teaching them about RF skin tightening and on the face. And I always say for that mid-face area is where you want to do radiofrequency skin tightening, okay? So around the nasolabial folds, around that submental fat pad, around the neck and jowl area to kind of lift. As we get older, everything slows down and it really, really starts to droop. When I was in esthetician school back in the day, guys, nothing like this existed. With elastin, you have to be able to tighten everything up. And usually that was a surgical procedure. Now in aesthetics, we can literally tighten everything up super tight by doing RF skin tightening procedures. And here's a little tip. So you'll, be ready to just jump into the classroom. Around your eyes, we never do the frontal bone. RF skin tightening on the frontal bone will produce too much heat. That's a very bony area. That makes sense, right? But then around the eye, you either have these hollows or you have puffiness. So if you're thinking skin tightening, always think of doing the puffy areas to tighten there. But if it's not puffy, you don't need to do it. So we'll typically do mid-face down for RF skin tightening, and then we'll do eye skin here if it's puffy, and that'll help to tighten that puffy eye skin. So RF skin tightening is super fun. You'll love it. Lash lifting. Miss Shannon up there at the top left, she is a rock star with lash lifting certification stuff. Brow lamination too, which is new. We just brought in tons of Elibana and tons of this other brand. I can't think of what we just ordered. It's an incredible company that does the brow lamination. And those are just things. We just added that just recently, the brow lamination, and it's just so huge and on trend. Why not learn it? Should you have to pay extra for any of these things? No, it should be included in your aesthetics program, in my personal opinion. So that's what we do. Sugaring hair removal. This is new. This is new as of this year because Instructor LaDonna Wilson has come on board with us. She's with us every single day. She's a sugaring expert. She's a licensed aesthetics instructor. She is a massage therapist, which is phenomenal, but she is the sugaring teacher. She has always taught sugaring with us, but now she's coming on board and hello, incorporating it into our program whenever and how often you want to learn it. So not only are you getting the waxing hair removal training, but you're getting sugaring hair removal too, which you may like one or the other. You may like both. A lot of folks love both. And then that background picture, like I said, is the students in my class, that was my group, doing microchanneling. We taught that and certified them last week. But microchanneling, you can do that at 0.25 millimeter or 0.50 millimeter depths. So that's cool. And what it does is it penetrates little needles, teeny, teeny, tiny ones. So don't be scared. It's not the big, crazy, deep needles or anything. We save that for the Advanced Academy with our physicians. But that one is more superficial and it helps to produce collagen and helps to get rid of texture issues. It's perfect for people with rosacea, telangiectasias, and inflammatory disorders. Helps to break up hyperpigmentation, helps to produce mitosis of keratinocytes, which you're going to learn all about in my class. So I highly recommend, I will say this, if you want my opinion, we do offer a day and an evening program. I teach days, and I think it's important to do whatever works for your schedule, but truly you want more than just one or two teachers. You want to be able to see a little bit of everybody and be a part of that daytime culture if you can, because you'll get a little bit more from that. We're able to bring in more speakers during the day and all sorts of stuff, but we do have some phenomenal night teachers. We love Paula, we love Shani, so they're fantastic, but I do recommend days if you want my opinion, okay? Because I want to be able to teach you myself, I do. All right, then business profitability success. I do tons of financial forecasting stuff with the students because it doesn't take a ton of math knowledge to be successful in finance. If you can add, if you can subtract, if you can multiply, if you can use a calculator, you can come up with these equations to kind of figure out if you're going to be good at this. Is your menu price point correct? Should you up your cost? Do you have room to maybe add value or add some sort of discounted package or whatever it is? The numbers never lie. So we do a ton of that in my class. I think that's an amazing thing to provide to yourself, because if you're going to pay for a program and go to school, you need to use this information and be able to put it to good use. And I'll always say this, write this down and never forget it. You will always make the most money working for yourself, okay? You will always make the most money working for yourself. That is the truth. That is the truth. So just make sure you understand what comes with that, right? All the liability, all the bills and all the things, but you can manage it in such a way to where it can be a small thing. It can be a bigger thing. It could be something you grow eventually and hire other employees and whatever. But you want to start out the right way. If you don't start business the right way, then that's going to be hard to come back from. So this is where I can help you with that. Okay. Frequently asked questions. So we do offer federal funding. We offer Pell Grants. That all is coming from studentaid.gov, as you see there. You do need our correct school code in order to fill out a application with the Department of Education. So there's that. We also provide, cash options for people if you don't want to take out any loans or whatever, or if you want to pull down a Pell Grant and you're able to utilize that funding, which is free funding for you. That does cover only a portion of the program, but hey, it's money you don't have to repay. You could even use your Pell Grant and then just pay for the remaining out of pocket. That's completely up to you. But if you choose to take out a loan through the Department of Education, just remember it is a loan like anything else. You don't have to start paying on it until 6 months after graduation and all that kind of stuff, but just think through that before you commit to it. I always say that if you take out a loan, because I'm finances, right? Well, want to make sure you're set up for success. You understand that you do have to repay that back. So just keep that in mind. The big thing too, and I'm going to talk about Veterans Affairs funding independently in just a minute, but with the FAFSA, please notate that the biggest thing that holds people up from starting is them not filling out both FAFSAs. So here's the reason behind it. For this year, you need to fill out the 2021 and 2022 FAFSA, okay? Because Department of Education, their actual fiscal year stops June 30th. So you need to make sure that you're able to be covered for both segments of the year, if that makes sense. So just make sure you do that and you are good to go with getting approved and getting into the start date of your choice. So there's that. Then our Veterans Affairs funding folks, if you are a post 9/11 GI Bill recipient and you are active duty or you're a dependent or whatever, and you are able to utilize Chapter 33 or 35 benefits, we do offer the program for those of you that have those options. The only thing I need you to provide to us is your certificate of eligibility that showcases whether or not you receive 100% and whether or not you're Chapter 33 or 35, okay? That is a big difference there, Chapter 33 or 35. So just keep that in mind that we need to see that before we get you enrolled. But the cool thing about Veterans Affairs funding students is that y'all get to come first. So we can push other people behind to bring in our VA students first. Y'all get first priority enrollment. So that's cool. And then if you see here, the daytime program is 20 weeks, Monday through Friday, 9 to 3. Our evening program is 30 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 4 to 9. I do highly recommend, please, 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 I would love to have you in my class. So come to the day program. The evening class is equally as wonderful, but I would love to teach you myself. I feel like that's most of the reason why a lot of people want to come to the school, to learn the business knowledge and everything. So please, please, please come and join me in day class. And I do start my lectures right at 9 o'clock. And on the first day, we'll talk about attendance and different things like that until May of 2021. We do have digital learning options approved. So in my core class, this will change, just so you understand. And this may be extended out. So we'll see what the LLR does. But make sure you understand that aesthetics is one of those things where you need to be on site. So you do need to psychologically always think about the fact that you need to be on site Monday through Friday, 9 to 3. In your first 5 weeks, I do give you at least 1 day a week, okay, to do digital assignments. And I give all of my assignments out on Sundays. So you could essentially get ahead of some of your stuff and that sort of thing. And that does typically help people out that are traveling in and that sort of thing. So there's that. But beyond the first 5 weeks, you're on site all the time. Okay. So just keep that in mind. That is only for the first 5 weeks. And then if you have to be out for some sort of doctor's appointment or something like that, and you send us a physician's note, or if your child has to go to a doctor's appointment, you send us a physician's note. If you have any sort of proof document, I will send you digital learning for that day too. So we always try to keep you on track. And I think people really do appreciate that. And I'm the one that oversees all the digital learning too. I like to do it all. So there's that. If you have any questions for me on the attendance part of things, I will look at the Q&A section towards the end if that's okay. And then please make sure y'all know my private meeting schedule. I get in at 7. I'm an early riser. I wake up at 4:30 every day. Today is Saturday. I woke up at 4:30 anyways. I just can't help myself, I guess. But I'm always in the office Monday through Friday starting at 7 a.m. And I know that's very early for some people, but I do a lot of my student meetings around 8:30, and then I go right into teaching. So if you have a business idea, if you have a specific sort of goal or whatever, if you want to sit down with me and I show you how to do volume lashes by yourself, because you've already gone through my classic lash training, that's where we can have the meeting of the minds and we sit together by ourselves and just, I'm here to help you with those kind of things. And then I'm typically available from 2 to 3 if I have LaDonna or another teacher oversee my class. So that is dependent upon what I'm teaching that day, but I do try to make myself available there as well for you guys. So I believe in private meetings. I do request that you request them ahead of time, even if it's 24 hours ahead. It doesn't have to be several weeks ahead of time, but I always like a heads up so I know what it is I can help you with, so I can put you on my agenda. I'm very scheduled like that, and I know you'll appreciate that. But I want to make sure that I'm there to assist you and nothing else is on my plate and it's all about you. So just keep in mind, those are my meeting moments for you. And that's my personal cell phone number. Please feel free to text me any and all hours of the day. And I know most people would never say that. I might be asleep a little bit, but then I'll respond to you in the morning. But I love questions. I am happy to answer them. And even if it's not a student related question, if you want to send me a question that has to do with Courtney, my skin, hello, we got hyperpigmentation, we got this going on, I've got acne issues, I'm not understanding my hormone levels, what's going on. I like helping you with those questions too. So I open myself up like that because I love everything about what I do. And it's just so important that you feel like somebody's on your team, somebody's on your side, you have someone to answer your questions. So I can probably answer most things. If it's something I can't answer, I'll definitely get you in touch with the right person that can. But if it's anything skincare and anything having to do with the school, I got you on that. And then my email address is the info@seaestheticsinstitute.com. Feel free to send me some longer questions that way. If it's definitely going to consist of a longer answer, I'll usually say, okay, cool, copy and paste this in an email to me, and then I can respond to you in much more detail. And sometimes that's what it warrants a little bit, depending on the question. And then I wanted to make sure that I added this here for you at the bottom. And it says, what makes a great aesthetic student? I think that, I'm personally at a point in my career because, here I am in my career and I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, the teaching side of aesthetics. But what makes a great aesthetics student? I want people in my classroom that really want to make a difference, that are there for the right reasons, that have an actual idea of what aesthetics is and what it means. So let me read this answer to you. Someone that wants to make a change in the lives of others. You have to want to do that. You can't be self-centered and self-absorbed. You can't. We're all a little bit like that, right? But we have to care about people. If you're not a people person, you don't really care about anybody but you. This might not be the thing for you. You know what I mean? And then it says an individual that has a servant heart. You have to want to jump in and serve others. You will also want to help with things such as laundry, cleaning duties around the school, things that just happen in an aesthetics environment when it's all hands on and you're doing all these things. It really entails someone that is open to being a servant leader, has a servant heart, someone that cares. So we want people like that at our school, and you'll have a better time when you're surrounded by people like that too, right? And then someone that is open to forever learning. I like that term, forever learning. You can never come into my classroom, folks, thinking you know it all. I never say that I know it all. I just said that yesterday when I was teaching lashes. You never know everything. You're always a forever student. You always need to be open to learning something new. And especially in aesthetics where things are evolving and constantly changing, you want to be someone that is open to forever learning. And then that last one there, an individual that is detail oriented. That can mean a lot of things, but I'll tell you what it means in my classroom. It means that you're going to read all my emails because I send out Sunday emails with agendas. That is to help you align your week. You cannot be successful in life if you don't know what's happening. Okay. I think weekly agendas are so important. You get in the mindset of understanding what you're doing Monday through Friday, exactly the time that you're doing it, so you can mentally know what's coming ahead for you. And I provide that, but I do ask that you read it and that you really absorb that information and understand it. And then details come into play big time with aesthetics. Okay. You do have to be open to learning a little bit more about how to be detailed. So when it comes to eyelash extensions or makeup artistry, which are fun and people want to learn those things, but they quickly realize, oh goodness, I've got to be very detail oriented and I've got to be very patient in learning this. And I might take, an hour and a half up to 2 hours to do lashes the first time, but the goal is to get to about an hour and 15 minutes. You'll see me do lash extensions in 30 minutes. I did that yesterday, but that comes with tons of time and learning and pushing and getting frustrated and then moving on, right? So those are the things about your personality that I would like to have in my classroom. Okay, so how to begin. So for those of you that are actually on this call to make some decisions and just kind of hear from me directly, these are the things we need. And I put my email address on there, but I also put Erin. She is the director of admissions, Erin Barbaro at SE Aesthetics. Oh, I think I spelled that wrong, but just send it to me then. Erin Barbaro, SEAestheticsinstitute.com. But please feel free to fill these items out and email it to me at info@SEAestheticsinstitute.com. But feel free to also drop off in person at 1644 Main Street. I'm also going to show you our COVID procedures on the website. One thing that I like to make sure people understand in 2021 is you will be wearing a mask when walking around the school at all times. When you're seated at your desks in the classroom, you most certainly don't have to be be masked unless you would like to be. And then when we're serving others, you have to wear one. Okay, so just make sure you bring your mask with you when you do drop off any paperwork, and I think you'll appreciate that. It's always good to be on the safe side. But complete the student contract. I'm going to show you where to find this on our website in just a minute. You're going to supply 2 copies of identification, like a driver's license, and whatever else, like a social security card copy would be my second choice, and then a copy of your high school diploma or GED equivalent. A lot of people ask me and they say, well, can it be my college degree, a copy of that? Unfortunately not. This is an LLR requirement. It's not a requirement. It has to be a copy of your high school diploma or GED. And with the contract, the copies of your 2 identification things, and then your copy of your high school diploma or GED equivalent, we send that off to the LLR for them to process you as a student. Does that make sense? We want to make sure that all that stuff is sent to them exactly how they ask for it. So that's not an us rule. It's a LLR rule. So we want you to be registered as a student. We have you fill out a form from the LLR as well. That's a student enrollment form. You do that with me on the first day of class, and you're good to go. And I wanted to make sure you'll see this here too. You must be a U.S. citizen in order to take your board exams and become a licensed esthetician in South Carolina. So keep that in mind. And if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to text me or email me on that one as well. Okay, real quick. This is what I want to talk about, business ownership. If you would like, let me check my Q&A box real quick if I'm able to, or the chat box. Hello. Brianna asked, what's the difference between 33 and 35? So I'm looking at the chat box, folks. Chapter 33 for Veterans Affairs funding means that the funds come to the school directly, so you don't have to mess with it. So that's a good thing. If it's chapter 35, that means that they're going to give you the funds directly. So that actually puts you in our category as a cash pay student. Does that make sense? So then you'll pay us from yourself. So a lot of times, and you can't help it with whatever they categorize you to be. But I want to make sure that you understand that chapter 33 is just easier on you. So you don't have to deal with that. I hope that makes sense. It's still early. I need my coffee. And then Ebby asked, I hate to leave because I'm learning so much. And thank you. And I love you too, Ebby. But I will be posting this on our YouTube channel for y'all to rewatch and stuff. So especially when it comes to this business ownership item thing that I'm fixing to go through. I post this all the time when I'm fixing to go over, ladies. I post this at our tribe page, which you will have access to when you become a student. But I'm also having this here. And I also have some other lectures that are recorded on my YouTube channel for the school that you can watch. And I think it's a lot of fun. I love sharing knowledge with any and everybody. So this is cool. So if you're interested in becoming a business owner, what are the correct steps? What do I need to do to ensure business success? Please schedule a moment with me privately to help you, because everything is very individualized, but these steps are not. So this is if you're becoming a business owner in the state of South Carolina. You can also change this, of course, to be applicable to other states as well. So let me know how I can help you if it's another state. But the first thing you're going to do, I was going to start from the top down. And you're going to go to irs.gov and create a federal tax ID number. You will see there that I am not a fan of you becoming a sole proprietor for liability purposes. That means that liability is on you, and that means your assets could be taken if your business goes under. And I don't like the idea of that. So I want you to create and register your business as an LLC, a limited liability corporation. You can even choose different types of LLCs, such as an S Corp or just a traditional LLC, whatever. And I want to make sure you have that federal tax ID first, which is the equivalent of your social security number for you personally, but it's just a social security number or a number that tags your business as a business with the federal government. Number two, you're going to go to mydoorway.dor.sc.gov. So that is the South Carolina Department of Revenue. You're going to have a different Department of Revenue for each individual state. You need to then get a tax withholding number for the state. So you have that federal tax ID number for the federal government through the IRS, number one. Then you're going to get your state withholding number from your state's Department of Revenue. Then the third thing that people forget, so please don't pay an attorney to do this stuff, folks. Y'all can do it just like this if you follow my steps, and I can even help you do it with your iPad or your computer in my office. But you're going to register with the South Carolina Secretary of State. to register your business as an LLC, and you need to receive that certificate of existence. So you think that you're good once you do number one and number two, but you also need to get that certificate of existence, because when you go to open up a FDIC insured bank account, you need to have a copy of that certificate of existence from the Secretary of State with you in order to open a business bank account. Those are just little things that you don't think of, and you don't want to do things backwards and waste time, right? So just keep that in mind. Number four, then you need to register with your county you are working in to request a county business license. That's important. So this is all government regulated stuff from the top down, right? Your federal, your state, and then your Secretary of State stuff. And then you register with your county. So the school is in Richland County. We have to have a business license through Richland County. And then whereas here in Lexington, let's say I open a business in Lexington, South Carolina, this is Lexington County. So I'd have to go to the Lexington County business office to obtain a business license here. So wherever your brick and mortar is where you need to obtain your county business license. Then I like to go into detail. Number five, open a business bank account with an FDIC insured bank. That's a big one. That means your money is insured, folks. You need to have that. Sometimes business bank accounts will have some sort of a minimum that you need to have to put in there. Could be 500, could be 1,000, could be 2,500, but I always say put some cash in there to begin with. And you might need much more than that. But, I always help folks that are starting small, because that's always the smart thing to do. So put a couple $1,000s in there, and then you can begin purchasing items through your company, like a business cell phone. You can do things such as purchase equipment. Don't start purchasing equipment for your business through your actual personal bank account, okay? That's not smart. These are tax deductible items if it's a business bank account. And I can go into that more in detail in class, and then of course in person if you have questions about that. Make smart spending choices. If it's a business expense, it needs to come out of your business bank account, not your personal, okay? Then if you are looking into accounting software, of course, I've always used QuickBooks. So that's just initially what I will go to. So it says this initial deposit will be titled owner's investment in your QuickBooks accounting ledger. Okay, so keep that in mind. When you start understanding the basics of accounting, which you don't have to be an accountant to understand basics of accounting, QuickBooks and software like that make it pretty easy for you to title everything and all your expenses, whether it's a deposit or whether it's withdrawal. You need to be able to categorize it so it's always a tax deductible item, and your accountant can help you kind of reconcile that monthly and then annually, and then you're good. Now, I've got a couple more things to show you. Number 6, hire an accountant and open a QuickBooks Online account to organize your business expenses and income for tax purposes, which I kind of just said. If you need help with that, I can help you with that. My husband and I can help you with that. We have a CFO that can help you with that. You want to hire the right type of accountant that understands your business. Not all accountants do, so keep that in mind. You want to shop around for accountants and not just settle for just one and assume that they know exactly what they're doing. All accountants are a little bit different, so that is a much longer story, but I will stop with that one. You can ask me more questions on that later. Then if y'all will write down that website there at the bottom, ascpskincare.com. They're a great resource for just starting estheticians out there in the world. You need to take out a liability insurance policy, which they provide, okay? And then a contents of the building insurance policy, which would be like renter's insurance. You'll probably have to get that from another source, but liability insurance covers you performing on others. You have to have that when you're touching faces and touching other people and taking money for those services. You need to have liability insurance that covers what you're doing. And that is a great inexpensive resource, ascpskincare.com. And like I said, if you're looking for renter's insurance and stuff, I can definitely give you some recommendations on that as well. Then, see, I got lots to show you and lots to share, but we'll try to keep this short and sweet. Number 8, here's what. I have a whole other lecture that is recorded on this, and I'll go through this in detail with you in class, but seriously, folks, set yourself up as a W-2 employee of your own company through payroll services such as ADP. I love ADP. It's a great payroll service. And pay yourself either weekly or bi-weekly. I'm not kidding. Do not make member draws out of your business account if you can help it, because you need to be able to collect a W-2. You don't want to have to owe taxes at the end of a year as a brand new business owner and someone that's just trying to get their financials under control, because you don't really know much about financial stuff unless someone has taught it to you. And as a new business owner, you have to be smart like that. Do not make member draws. Always pull yourself in as a W-2 employee of your own company. Make regular weekly or bi-weekly payments to yourself. It can be direct deposited through ADP into your bank account, your personal bank account, and then you're good and you get a tax return. Do the right thing. There's so many business owners out there that just simply don't do this correctly. Okay. And then at the bottom, I said that, other features of ADP include things like, employee and company policies, procedure manuals, and more. I also have things like that for you too, that are outside of ADP, that are specific for the salon and spa industry, just by the way. So if you have questions about this, that can get into a much longer conversation. I've got an article coming out in Dermoscope magazine about this, and the editor was telling me how beneficial this particular information was in the beauty industry. And I'm glad to hear that. A lot of people need to set themselves up better than they are. Financial stability is the most important thing in business and in life. You're going to be a happier person. You're not going to be as stressed. I mean, just, think about all the different things there. So I'll help you with that one. Everybody can do it. All right, then the last couple things here, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Y'all doing all right? Okay. All right, number 9. This is a big one, and I'm going to help you with this in class. Register a salon license or booth renter license, which is a room renter, through the South Carolina Board of Cosmetology website. You'll just want to do a salon license. It's only $100, so write that down. You need to have a salon license in order to do beauty services, okay? And just to go ahead and answer this question, you are not able to, in South Carolina, unfortunately, have a salon or spa in your house. It has to be external to your home, like a she shed in the backyard, or let's say this house, like if you had a room that had a mother-in-law suite or an external door, it cannot have any interconnecting doors to your household, because that goes into sanitation stuff. You're not allowed to have pets and things. So I get it. I do. But I can explain that a little bit more directly if you're interested in that. But whatever you want to do, whether it's commercial space or a she shed in the backyard, you can do that, but you need to have a salon license. Okay. Then I get into talking about here for number 10, your appointment booking systems. In this day and age, you cannot do aesthetics or any kind of aesthetic services without just digital means of booking appointments and allowing people to book online. I remember the day that my mother and we had her laser center, and I just would write everything down with a pencil on an appointment book, okay, like a real appointment book, back right before all this stuff became huge. So this was, very early 2000s, and all this stuff has become super popular since then. And you want to make sure to shop around for merchant services fees. I always say, do not accept credit card processing services of any more than 1.9%. It needs to be lower than that if you can help it, in order for you to make money and not just give all your money back into the credit card processing. And really, that's where a lot of people are spending their dollars these days. And, cash is becoming not as prevalent now. Everybody's using cards. So just keep in mind that you want to constantly be shopping around for merchant services. Maybe take a look at that every 6 months or so. You have to schedule an office day to do that, but be a smart little business owner and you'll be fine, and you won't be giving all your money away, right? Okay. I hope that excited you a little bit, because business ownership is super exciting, I think. And I think that that is just something that you'll never forget. You'll never forget that moment that you go into business for you. Okay. And then I'm going to go over and do maybe 15 more minutes of some things, if y'all are cool with that. And then, like I said, I'll have this recorded and, put on the YouTube channel. But this is my little quote for you today. Life is about pushing your boundaries, facing your fears in the eye. Face your fears, folks, and finding ways to make a meaningful difference by uplifting others every single day. These are pictures from literally the past couple of weeks. You see to the left, we've got Jody, we've got LaDonna and Shannon. LaDonna and Shannon are our licensed instructors. Miss Jody is almost licensed as an instructor. She is an esthetician, has been an esthetician for years, and she's one of our clinic leaders, especially for advanced, but kind of in the aesthetics program too. You see some of our girls there in the middle. That was on one of their last days after they did their business project, Mahaley and oh my goodness, a couple of the other girls there, and they were doing facials for some of the new students, and they had just gotten done doing their business projects. And then I see some other gorgeous little faces there. We have so much fun at the school, and it just makes me smile. I really love taking pictures and just really seeing the excitement and the happiness. And I mean, you know, school is school. Sometimes you're going to be studying. Sometimes things are going to get hard, right? Sometimes you're going to be tired. You're not going to want to get up every single day, but keep going and always look at the end goal and realize what you're there for. It's to really push yourself a little bit and get past some of those obstacles that just kind of, you know, cause you to stand in your own way sometimes. So always show up for yourself. Show up for yourself every day. Okay, folks. I see a Q&A question from Alana, and I want to answer that question. So what does the esthetician kit come with? The esthetician kit, we change this pretty frequently, but it's pretty much stayed the same for a while. So not only do you get your mannequin head, your facial brushes, you get a bunch of products from my skincare line, Courtney Sykes Molecular Skincare. You get an iPad with Milady Mind Tap uploaded to it, which is cool. You get a book bag, you get your scrubs. I'm trying to just think right off the cuff, Alana. You also get an oncology aesthetics kit from Oncology Spa Solutions. Totally look up Oncology Spa Solutions. We teach Becky's curriculum. Becky Keene is one of the most incredible people I've ever met, and she's an oncology aesthetics extraordinaire. She teaches all over the world. And we are just so lucky to be a school that teaches her curriculum. So you get her entire kit and book and everything. And then you get the Borboleta eyelash extensions kit too, which I just taught that yesterday, and that was fun. So you get a lot, and you actually get to keep all this at home, except for your iPad. You might want to bring that every day to class, you know, because you want to be able to look at everything in your book, your digital book. But other than that, you're good to go. You can keep all that stuff at home and play. Oh, and you also get a wax pot too, which is very helpful for state board because you have to have that as well. Let me check the chat one more time. The Q&A and the chat are totally different. How much work is needed outside the school hours? Cheryl, you asked that question. Really none, except for when you're studying for a test, Cheryl. So I just gave a chemistry test the other day. I try to do those either on a Friday or a Monday, and I ask the class what suits them better, you know, and they kind of come up with their test day. It's either going to be a Friday or a Monday. Our test, unless it's an exit test, the short answer, all of our tests are multiple choice. So I think you'll find the academic side of things not as hard as one would think. I teach really heavy in the lecture part of things, and we do lots of really fun activities that go along with that, but the testing itself is not as challenging as the content in the classroom, because testing is not really a good measure of your education, is it? You know, to me, it's how you use the information you're taught, and that's more when you work with clients and that sort of a thing. So no, we don't give y'all a bunch of homework, Cheryl, but we do ask that you study really good before those tests. So I hope that answered your question. Really quick, I'm going to hover over Attend SE. I'm on the seaestheticsinstitute.com website. Click on Aesthetics Licensure course. And then if you scroll down here, Brianna, I'm glad you're excited, or Brianna. I don't know how you pronounce your name, but I like the way it's spelled. We're excited to have you. You'll see some of my babies here, right there. Please watch all these fun videos too. That was from our other locations on Gervais Street when we just moved and everything. I've got videos all over the website. Please go watch them. They're super fun. Then down here where it says student contracts, catalog, and course outline, this is the student enrollment contracts. You can click there, download it, print it, and you can, email it back to me with your other stuff, and we'll get you squared up and get you going. This catalog, I go over that with you on orientation day. I give you a printed version, but this is the digital version if you feel like reading that. And then this is the 20-week course agenda for daytime. This helps you follow along with what chapter we're going over that week, I always tell people read ahead a little bit or not, whatever you want to do. But this is how we keep you on track. And then you'll get day-to-day agendas on those Sundays from me too. The 30-week course agenda for nights is a little bit different, of course, because it's 30 weeks instead of 20. And this is your lab requirement checkoff sheet, which I find this to be really cool. We don't have to do this in South Carolina, but I like to make sure you do enough of all these categories of things so you get what you paid for. You're going to do so many facials, so many high frequency galvanic machine stuff, superficial peels, medium depth peels. You'll see brow and lash tinning off to the left, hydrofacials, microchanneling, eyelash extensions, RF skin tightening, body waxing, Brazilian waxing, airbrush tanning. And so that's for you. And I can only speak for my class, but in my class, every Monday, I actually go over this with you privately and I pull everybody aside. I ask how you're doing. Is there anything I can do to help you? And then we look at what you did lab-like, lab specific things from the week before. And then I put them in my online system, and it's called SMART. That's the name of the system we use to track your academics and labs. And then at the end, you get a transcript with all these things that you've done. And so that's kind of cool too. I like that. Okay, the last thing I wanted to go over, and please, now that I've got my Q&A and my chat box pulled up, please feel free to type any questions in either one, and I will answer them. But I wanted to show you real quick our orientation presentation. And now that I've got this expanded, I can't see those boxes, but I'll come back to it. So keep asking your questions in the Q&A and the chat box. This is the exact presentation I go over in your first day of class. So we review all this stuff here. So I'll keep this relatively short, but I like to make sure that you have everything you need, probably more than what you actually need. So we go over the catalog, we go over the course agenda, we go over your lab requirements, which I just showed you that. We go through the LLR website, so you know who you're answering to beyond school, which is the South Carolina LLR Board of Cosmetology. I go over with you PSI testing, which is who registers you for your exams. I go over NIC exams, which is the company that actually creates the state board exams. And I do a phenomenal walkthrough of all your practical exam stuff, so you feel super ready to go for that. I also have all this recorded again on the YouTube channel for you guys too. So not only do you see a lot of this in person, I've got a lot of our big stuff recorded for you to rewatch over and over again. So I think that's important. Then I want to show you your alumni perks. That's cool. You get a bunch of free services as an alumni forever and ever and ever. So you'll see a bunch of our alumni coming back all the time, which I love. Then I do a technology orientation with you, show you how to use your iPads, how to use Milady MindTap, which is cool. And then Edmodo, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that, but I use Edmodo to define our classrooms, and you have an app that you can pull up on your phone or your iPad, and you will see all my slideshows. So all my slideshows, the Borboleta Lash Extensions Manual, I've written a book, okay, that you have a digital copy of that's going to help you do things like client care plans, ingredient knowledge, and all the actual things that are important in aesthetics. You got all that at your fingertips. So that's what I go over with you on the first day. And the catalog, of course, we now have a 2021 version, but I go over this in detail on the first day of class, so you know exactly what to expect. These are all the different categories. Then this is, like I just showed you, the 20-week agenda versus the 30-week agenda. We go over exactly what content you're going to be going over, but then every week you're going to know what hands-on items you're doing and all that. What I will tell you now is if you're in daytime, we segregate you guys into 5-week intervals for a total of 20 weeks. So the first 5 weeks you're in low core, the second 5 weeks you're in high core, the third 5 weeks you're in low elite, and the last 5 weeks you're in high elite. And once you get past that first 10 weeks, then you start serving real clients in the spa, which is totally fun. I send you all of your client reviews, which are incredible. Oh my gosh, I hope y'all been on the Facebook page and have read some of the reviews from the clients, but it's always saying 5-star review and, you know, this person was amazing and here's why, and they did a great job on my, you know, dermaplaning or my microdermabrasion and my peel, and did a great massage technique. And it's just so good to read that feedback from clients. I always suggest that you keep all that stuff, right? So you can show your future boss or put it in a little 3-ring binder. You can show all your clients all your 5-star reviews. That is important. So we really, cater to those individualized little moments where you feel your best because you worked so hard to be able to perform this service appropriately. And so you deserve those accolades like that. We went over the lab requirement sheet just now, but that's what it looks like. So again, you can actually pull this from the SEAestheticsinstitute.com website that I just showed it to you if you want to kind of look and see what you're expected to do. I think that's kind of fun, but it definitely prepares you for real world experiences and being able to work in a spa and in most places performing all these really cool modalities. So I love that. Then we go over this on the first day of class as well. So LLR regulations, I think that's important. I show you how to file a complaint. I show you how to look up board orders of others, see what people are getting fines for, which, is more on the negative side of things, but you want to make sure you're following all the rules, you know what I mean? And this is where you can find all that stuff. So you never just act like you don't know. I always like to make sure you do know. This is where you can actually find your registration paperwork to test for boards, which we print for you and we notarize it and everything. So no worries there. And it's also where you can find your salon license application as well. So I'll go over that with you on the first day. Then PSI exams, I go over this too, but Audra and I help you with registering for boards and all that kind of stuff. So you don't need to worry about it too much, but it's good to look at. This is the testing company that tests you for both your theory and your practical exams. Okay, that's important. And then NIC exams, I try not to confuse people, but NIC is the company that makes the testing. And so I like to show you where you can find resources, on all the things pertaining to testing. But once you go through our program, it's very simple, I would say. It's probably just more of the, fear of the unknown a little bit until you get beyond this and just do it. But your theory exam is about 115 questions. It's all multiple choice. You take it at a testing center, wherever they place you. And then the practical exam, you're going to be performing on a mannequin head, and you're going to do a facial, and you're going to do waxing, and you're going to do makeup on a mannequin head, but it's all simulated really. Some of it's real, some of it's simulated, but it's mostly to showcase sanitation, and that's it. So you don't have to worry about making your mannequin head look great with their makeup on, right? It's just more or less about the sanitation of it. This is the fun part. When you are an alumni, you get to receive free services. So everything off to the right is free for you. So you can go to that link there and just see. It's a plethora of services you get for free. The Glow bed, which is a complete amazing LED light bed. We just added that on for free. You get discounted services on the advanced clinic. We just started offering free laser hair removal for you guys too with the advanced students. So that's amazing. So I actually need to add more to that. But we like to take care of our alumni. You entrusted us with your education, and we want to make sure you're taken care of. This is the SEEI tribe page that is on Facebook. So make sure you're on Facebook. Some people I know aren't, but make sure you're on there at least for me to add you to the tribe page. So we post jobs and ideas and different cool things and resume prep, how to create a logo. I mean, all this stuff. We like to make sure you're fully informed outside of school. And it's like a little family member. We have way more members than that now since I did that. But anyway, I think you'll really enjoy the tribe page for sure. Technology orientation, I go over that with y'all too. That's kind of a screenshot of what Milady MindTap looks like. So I'll show you how to get into those folders, complete certain assignments and that sort of thing. But I typically only use the folders during your digital learning days and that sort of thing. So we don't do, like I said, a whole bunch of homework per se. We do everything mostly in class. So that's kind of nice. I know most people do work and have families outside of school. And then Edmodo. I'll show you how to get into Edmodo, and that's the course code and everything. And you get all of your, slideshows and a copy of my book and all of that good stuff. So all sorts of fun things that we do at Southeastern. So I'm going to look at y'all's questions now. Let me see here. So Brianna says, I'm going through the GI Bill and waiting to receive my certificate. Should I wait to send in my identification information? Brianna, I would just go ahead and send all your stuff in. You will receive your certificate of eligibility pretty quickly, I would say, once you request it. But just go ahead and check off that you're doing Chapter 33. We can change it if you need to. So I would just go ahead and send that in, and we can start putting you into a start date if you're interested. You most certainly can do whatever you want to do. Cheryl. Oh, good. You said you visited as a client this past week for a facial. Wonderful experience. Do students have to park in the metered areas or in a parking, or is parking provided? I'm glad you asked that question. That's the one thing that is not included as parking. But what happens is when you enroll, Erin, our admissions director, will give you the form to fill out for the, what is it called? That parking garage right there. Shoot, I can't think of the name of it, but it's right next to the school, and you'll pay something like $45 or $65 to park there per month. And then you obviously turn that off when you're done. So it's very easy. It's walking distance. We also, by the way, speaking of walking distance, we give you a student name tag, and you can take your student name tag anywhere on Main Street that is owned by the people that own the Grand. Are y'all familiar with that restaurant? It's a really great restaurant, but you get 20% off of everything from them and all their sub companies, like the, I don't even know. There's a couple of others. I think Good Life Cafe is one of them, but you get discounts to eat at all those places too. But yeah, you do, Cheryl, need to get a parking pass. I would not suggest parking in a meter. They do tow people if you are not paid for that meter. I've been towed a couple of times when I lived downtown years ago. So just keep that in mind. And then Ashley, do you offer student teaching positions for licensed estheticians? I do. I do, of course. To work at our school, you have to go through a whole process of, interviews. You have to be interviewed by the entire teaching staff because we work so cohesively together. So we do like to hire our graduates. In fact, I would prefer to always hire our graduates. You know exactly what we're all about. We're definitely different than most aesthetic schools. So the way it's taught at other schools is not the way we teach it at Southeastern. And so I do like to hire people for that. Now, Ashley, to even go further, and I don't want to keep y'all too much longer, maybe 6 more minutes. To go on that even further, in South Carolina, you need to be a licensed esthetician for 2 years before taking your methods of teaching course, which is a 45-hour class, and then sitting for your instructor license test. Does that make sense? But if you want to become an instructor sooner, we'd put you through an approved instructor training program that is 750 hours. At Southeastern Aesthetics Institute, and then you can sit for your 45-hour methods of teaching. So it's a little bit of a process to do it that way, but we also hire clinic leaders and people that oversee our spa and everything and help the students with all the hands-on and everything. So there's always some neat opportunities for that. I'm glad you asked. Okay. And then Cheryl, good to go. Brianna, good to go. Okay. If y'all have any other questions, I'm going to post my cell phone number again in the chat box. So 803-629-0658. That is Courtney's cell phone. Hopefully y'all can see that there. So please save that in your phones, and you can ask me any questions that y'all have. And again, here is my email address, info@seaestheticsinstitute.com. But I really hope that this was helpful, you guys. If y'all need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Aesthetics is just everything to me. It's why I breathe, why I get up every day. It's just everything, being able to serve other people and do skin rejuvenation procedures that truly make people feel and look better, but feel better in their own skin. That's, there's nothing like that. So I love you guys very much. And I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I will chat with you soon. Bye guys.